Hi everyone, I'm Sheriff Jim Fredericks, and I'm looking for your help to bring wanted persons to justice. The Sheriff's Office works hard to keep our community safe, and this is your chance to join me in locating people actively sought by law enforcement. So get ready, you're about to go around Anne Arundel County with me on the lookout. Hi, I'm Sheriff Jim Fredericks, and thank you for joining me for the third segment of On the Lookout. Let me start by thanking you, the viewer. Because of your help, we've been able to arrest individuals that have been featured on our previous segments. So again, thank you, and keep the information coming. Now let's get started. We have a show full of individuals who are wanted by law enforcement. If you recognize a name, a face, or an address, contact our warrant tip line. You'll see it at the bottom of your screen throughout the program. It's 410-LOOKOUT or 410-566-5688. All right, let's go to the 4 districts of the county on the lookout. So June 16th is Father's Day. The Sheriff's Office would like to spread the word about a special few wanted individuals we would love to locate. Our first subject is John Tracy Osborne. He's a 56-year-old Caucasian male with a child support warrant. He's in arrears for his court-ordered child support payments in the amount of $7,395 at the time that warrant was issued. And that was during January of 1995. Yes, 1995. His last known address is 419 West South Street in Frederick, Maryland. Our next subject is Brian DeLay Smith. He's a 57-year-old Caucasian male with a child support warrant. He is in arrears for court-ordered child support payments in the amount of $37,535 as of September 2000. His last known address is 12624 Black Saddle Lane in Germantown, Maryland. Now, the next subject is Christopher Perrette. He's a 51-year-old Caucasian male with a child support warrant as well. He's in arrears for his court-ordered child support payments in the amount of $5,000, and that was as of September 2001. His last known address, 11617 Clocktown Lane in Laurel, Maryland. Now the next subject is Kevin Francis Gorman. He's a 56-year-old Caucasian male with a child support warrant too. He's in arrears for his court-ordered child support payments in the amount of $34,000 as of February 2008. He has an additional warrant for failing to appear for his CDS possession, not marijuana case. His last known address is 604 North Avondale Road in Dundalk, Maryland. So for our Father's Day special, the last subject is Kenny Dale Zant. He's a 61-year-old African-American male with a child support warrant. He is in arrears for his court-ordered child support payments in the amount of $12,000 as of March 2009. His last known address is 1515 Light Street in Baltimore, Maryland. All right, getting started in the northern part of the county for our first subject is Monica Marie Jordan. She's a 23-year-old Caucasian female, brown hair, brown eyes, 5'2", 115 pounds. Jordan is wanted for violation of probation on her prior armed robbery case, for failing to appear on her prior CDS possession case, and she has a third warrant out of Baltimore County for armed robbery, assault, and theft under $1,500. Monica Jordan has been busy. She was released from our local detention center and transported to a women's addiction treatment facility. Under the agreement, she would complete treatment there. She immediately fled from that location, violating the terms of her probation. During this time is when she also failed to appear in Howard County for the drug case and picked up that new warrant out of Baltimore County for armed robbery. Her last known address is 5304 Patrick Henry Drive in Brooklyn. The next subject in our Northern District is DeCoste Abels Jr. He's an 18-year-old African-American male, black hair, brown eyes, 6 feet tall, 160 pounds. Abels is wanted for failing to comply with a peace order. During November of 2018, a final peace order was placed against Abels, precluding contact with the petitioner in that case. That order was valid through May of 2019. During February of this year, Abels sent text messages to the petitioner, including profane, sexual, and violent remarks. His last known address is 603 Old Stage Road in Glen Burnie. Our next subject is Yamika Tarnice Alford. She's a 39-year-old African-American female, black hair, brown eyes, 5'4", 140 pounds. Alford is wanted for CDS possession with intent to distribute narcotics, as well as violation of probation on a prior theft charge. On January 4th of 2019, police executed a search warrant on Miss Alford's apartment. During this investigation, numerous items of CDS and paraphernalia were located. Located also within the apartment were several subjects who attempted to destroy evidence. One of the subjects was identified as Yamika Alford, to whom the apartment was registered. A second warrant has been issued for Alford for violation of probation on a theft charge. By picking up the new charges, Alford failed to comply with the terms and conditions of her probation. Her last known address is 342 Highland Road, apartment 202 in Glen Burnie. The next subject is Joshua Lee Bell. He's a 27-year-old Caucasian male, brown hair, brown eyes, 5'8", 140 pounds. Bell is wanted for violating his probation on a prior manufacturing CDS conviction and for failing to appear on a prior second-degree assault case. Following his conviction of manufacturing CDS, Joshua Bell was sentenced to 3 years supervised probation. He violated his probation by incurring 2 new arrests. One arrest was for assault second degree and the other for theft less than $100. CDS possession and concealed dangerous weapon charge as well. His last known address is 10 Walton Avenue in Brooklyn. Our next subject is Curtis Allen Bradford. He's a 33-year-old African-American male, black hair, brown eyes, 5'11", 240 pounds. Bradford is wanted for second-degree assault and trespassing. Bradford currently has 2 outstanding arrest warrants for separate assaults against his pregnant girlfriend. An incident on November 11th of 2018 involved the defendant grabbing and choking the victim while trespassing at the Glenmar Apartments, after previously being banned from that property. The second assault, reported on November 12th, took place on October 5th of 2018 and involved the defendant shoving his pregnant girlfriend in the stomach while she was attempting to open a door. Bradford's last known address is 460 Glenmar Apartments, C3 in Glen Burnie. All right, moving on to our Southern District, our next subject is William Walter Tucker. He's a 40-year-old Caucasian male, brown hair, blue eyes, 6'3", 200 pounds. Tucker has warrants for theft under $1,500, stealing another's credit card, first-degree burglary, home invasion, armed robbery, second-degree assault, and violation of probation on a threat of arson and malicious destruction of property case. Well, Tucker is just the worst. During March of 2019, he stole his mother's credit card and threatened if she reported it to police, things would get worse. He used that stolen credit card to withdraw $100 from her bank account. Hours later, he broke into the home of 2 elderly subjects, woke and threatened them, and then demanded all their money. The male homeowner at that location grabbed a knife from the bedstand to protect himself and his wife. A struggle ensued. Tucker punched the man, knocked him down, grabbed the knife, and cut his hand. Tucker stated, "If you keep fighting, I'm going to stab you. If you call the police, I will come back and kill you." Tucker took all the residents' credit cards, $120 in cash, and drove away in their vehicle, which was later recovered in Baltimore City. As a result of the new charges, Tucker now has a 3rd warrant for violation of probation on his prior threat of arson case. His last known address is 1815 Shore Drive in Edgewater. The next subject is Sherry Lynn Butler. She's a 47-year-old Caucasian female, brown hair, brown eyes, 5'7" and 170 pounds. Butler has a warrant for tampering with electric company equipment, tampering with the meter, tampering with the conductor, theft, and theft scheme. Between April 2017 and November 2018, investigators from the Energy Theft Unit of BG&E responded to theft of services complaint at 159 Jaguar Drive in Lothian. During the course of their investigation, investigators found on 3 separate occasions that someone had installed an electric meter into the electric box after the company had removed the meter and placed a lock on that box. Each time the meter was replaced, the occupants of the residence were able to bypass conventional means to receive their electric services. On November 12th of 2018, while conducting surveillance on the residence, investigators observed a male subject exit the residence and remove the electric meter from the electric box. A short time later, they observed a female leave the residence. Investigators made contact with that female and identified her as Sherry Butler. Based on the results of their investigation, they obtained an arrest warrant for Butler for theft scheme, and that's between $1,000 and $10,000, and tampering with electric company equipment. Her last known address is 159 Jaguar Drive in Lothian. Our next subject is William Charles Cox, Jr. He's a Caucasian male, brown hair, hazel eyes, 6'2", 185 pounds. He has warrants for violating probation on 2 prior burglary cases, failing to appear on his prior second-degree assault case, and for driving a vehicle without a license. On January 25th of 2018, County Police observed a dark gray Jeep commit a traffic violation in the area of President Street in Annapolis. Once stopped, the officer made contact with the male driver, who stated he had left his wallet at home. However, the driver gave the name Richard Posen and provided a date of birth. The officer returned to his police vehicle to check the driver's information and observed the male operator jump out of the Jeep and flee the scene on foot. The officer was able to positively identify the driver as William Charles Cox, Jr. and obtained a warrant for his arrest. Mr. Cox also has 2 violation of probation warrants for failing to abide by his conditions of probation and an additional warrant for failing to appear in court for a second-degree assault case. His last known address is 879 Chestnut Tree Drive in Annapolis. The next subject is John Leroy Larkins. He's a 53-year-old African-American male, black hair, brown eyes, 6 feet, 190 pounds. Larkins has a warrant for violating the terms of his probation on his prior CDS distribution conviction. During April of 2018, Larkins was sentenced to 10 years of incarceration and placed on 5 years of probation for a CDS distribution conviction. Part of his conditions for probation were to report weekly for testing and to totally abstain from alcohol and drug use. During an office visit in July of 2018, Larkins admitted to his probation agent that he had continued to use alcohol. Larkins has since failed to report for weekly testing as directed. His last known address is 2610 Greenbrier Lane in Annapolis. Our next subject is Kabibi McCoy. She is a 41-year-old African-American female, black hair, brown eyes, 5'7", 184 pounds. McCoy is wanted for failing to appear on her driving without a license case, violating probation on her prior resisting and interfering with arrest conviction, and for violating probation on her prior manufacturing and distribution of CDS conviction. Also for failing to appear for driving a vehicle on a suspended license case and failing to appear for CDS possession. On December 11th of 2012, McCoy was arrested in New York City and charged with second-degree robbery, possession of a firearm, and possession of stolen property. During February of 2013, 2 warrants for violation of probation were issued for McCoy because of her continued non-compliance with the conditions of her probation. Additional arrest warrants were issued for McCoy for failing to appear in court for possession of CDS, driving a vehicle on a suspended license, and for driving a vehicle without a license. Her last known address is 52 Clay Street in Annapolis. All right, getting into our Eastern District, our first subject is Jesse Michael Hessler. He's a 35-year-old Caucasian male, blonde hair, blue eyes, 5'5", 130 pounds. Hessler has a warrant for violating probation on his prior first-degree assault conviction. Hessler was found guilty and sentenced in 2016 for assault in first degree. He failed to complete a drug treatment program, subsequently violating the terms of his probation. His last known address is 801 East Pasadena Road in Pasadena. Our next subject is Robert Joseph Russell. He's a 21-year-old Caucasian male, brown hair, hazel eyes, 5'8" and 140 pounds. He has multiple warrants for second-degree assault and another for failing to appear for his second-degree assault case. During March of 2019, police responded to 8005 Cameron Place for a reported domestic assault. During the investigation, it was alleged that Russell had struck the victim several times around the head. The victim refused medical treatment at the scene. Russell had left the area before police arrived. He has another second-degree assault warrant from a previous relationship and a bench warrant for a third altercation. His last known address is 8149 Hogneck Road in Pasadena. Our next subject is Donald James Deffenbaugh. He is a 30-year-old Caucasian male, brown hair, blue eyes, 5'9", 160 pounds. He has multiple warrants for first-degree assault and failing to appear on a driving on a suspended license case. Deffenbaugh, the fourth, was driving a vehicle with the father sitting in the passenger seat. The two became involved in a verbal dispute. Then Deffenbaugh, the fourth, began to repeatedly punch his father in the left side of his face. Mr. Deffenbaugh slammed on the brakes and the father exited the vehicle, attempting to flee. When he looked behind him, he saw the vehicle approaching at a high rate of speed, which caused him to jump out of the way. By doing that, he sustained injuries to his knees and hands. An arrest warrant for first-degree assault was issued for Mr. Deffenbaugh IV as a result of this incident. Deffenbaugh is also wanted for failing to appear for driving on a suspended license. His last known address is 1215 Hartwood Court in Arnold. Our next subject in the district is Samantha Diane Adams. She's a 37-year-old Caucasian female, brown hair and eyes, 5'7", 190 pounds. Adams has warrants for theft scheme, $1,500 to $25,000, credit card theft, credit card fraud, and failing to appear on a theft under $100 case. Adams is accused of using her mother's credit card between May 2018 and October 2018 to charge items totaling over $5,000. Police were able to retrieve store security footage and confirmed Adams' identity during one of the fraudulent transactions. Adams is also wanted for failing to appear for theft less than $100. Her last known address is 1362 Water Oak Point Road in Pasadena. Our next subject is Robert Allen Bassett. He's a 47-year-old Caucasian male, gray hair, blue eyes, 6 foot tall, 210 pounds. Bassett has multiple warrants for violating a protective order. He has additional warrants for failing to comply with probation and for failing to appear for his second-degree assault case. Bassett violated the terms of a protective order on multiple occasions by contacting the female victim using different forms of communication, including voicemails and emails. He also violated the terms of probation on his second-degree assault case and failed to appear on his reckless endangerment and second-degree assault cases. His last known address is 8101 Evening Star Drive in Pasadena. Moving into our Western District, our first subject is James Kenneth Cosgrove. He's a 29-year-old Caucasian male, brown hair and eyes, 5'9", 220 pounds. He has a warrant for violating probation on his prior first-degree burglary conviction. Cosgrove was in treatment at Second Genesis in Crownsville as a condition of his probation. He was reported by the director of Second Genesis for using Suboxone and distribution of Suboxone to other residential clients, which resulted in his immediate removal from the program. This violated his probation agreement. Cosgrove's last known address is 8122 Pasture Court in Severn. The next subject is Amanda Ashley Dull. She is a 31-year-old Caucasian female, brown hair, brown eyes, 5'3" and 120 pounds. Dull has 2 warrants for theft under $1,500. The backstory here is that Dull was observed by an employee of Kohl's department store in Severn, putting merchandise in her purse and then exiting the store without rendering payment for any items. The suspect had earlier returned an item for store credit, where the store acquired her driver's license number. Using this information, along with a review of the security camera footage, responding officers were able to identify the suspect as Amanda Dull. Her last known address is 523 Patricia Court in Severn. Our next subject is Christy Ann Jelich. She's a 42-year-old Caucasian female, blonde hair, blue eyes, 5'6" and 125 pounds. She has 3 warrants for theft under $100 and 2 for failing to appear on her unlawful use of a motor vehicle case and for theft under $1,500. Christy Jelich was identified through investigative measures and security camera photos as the suspect in 2 separate thefts. One incident occurred at the Target store in Glen Burnie, where Jelich was observed by a loss prevention employee shoplifting several times. The other incident was at the Gabe's store in Glen Burnie, where she was also observed shoplifting several items by loss prevention employees. Jelich also has several outstanding warrants for failure to appear. Her last known address is 1361 Defense Highway in Gambrels. The next subject is James Devin Shields. He is a 25-year-old African-American male, black hair, brown eyes, 6'2" and 155 pounds. Shields has warrants for failing to appear on his prior driving on suspended license and violating probation on his prior CDS possession with intent to distribute cases. Shields failed to report as instructed to the Parole and Probation Office on several occasions after his conviction. He also failed to report for a drug evaluation as directed. His last known address is 485 Greenwood Street in Odenton. Our next subject is Darnisha Monet Solomon. She's a 21-year-old African-American female, black hair, brown eyes, 5'7", 220 pounds. Solomon has multiple warrants for theft and theft scheme, theft between $100 and $1,500, failing to appear on her theft under $1,500 case, failing to appear on her disorderly conduct case, and violating probation on her second-degree assault conviction. It's a mouthful. On 4 different dates, Darnisha Solomon entered a Safeway store in Annapolis, concealed hundreds of dollars worth of baby formula in a reusable bag, and exited the store with no attempt to pay for the items. She was identified by Baltimore County detectives investigating similar crimes in the Towson area. Solomon also has a warrant for violation of probation in a second-degree assault conviction, during which she violated the conditions of her probation by incurring 2 new criminal charges for theft in Baltimore City and in Baltimore County. In addition to these 2 warrants, she also has a failure to appear warrant issued by Arundel County and multiple warrants issued from Baltimore County, Prince George's County, and Howard County for a total of 9 outstanding warrants. Her last known address is 1748 Mead Village Circle, apartment 297 in Severn. As we wrap up this month's On the Lookout, I wanted to again thank the viewers for their time and assistance. Your information helps law enforcement arrest wanted, sometimes violent subjects, taking them off the streets and out of our community. Looking forward, we will continue to bring additional information each month about individuals with open warrants. If you have any information on the subjects highlighted on the show, please call the Warrant Tip Line at 410-566-5688. That number again, you heard it before, is 410-LOOKOUT. To find out more about the Sheriff's Office and to link to our social media platforms, visit our website at www.aacounty.org/departments/sheriff. Until next time, I'm Sheriff Jim Fredericks, and I'll be seeing you on the lookout.
Thank you.